Good morning. Welcome to another Morning Java brought to you by our friends at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where I know I talk about the smoothies a lot, but they have a lot of two new fried appetizers right now. Zucchini fries, they're unreal. Probably going to go there when I'm done writing and get that. But yeah, we're recording this on Tuesday. The Penguins just fell in overtime for the Flyers in their lone exhibition game before the playoffs get underway. And Dave, what were your initial impressions of that exhibition game, the last tune-up the Penguins have before the series against the Canadiens gets underway?
I think for the most part, it went probably about the way you would have expected. It was certainly very sloppy, especially in the early going, which you would expect from teams that haven't played a game since March. It got better as the game went along. It certainly wasn't the intensity that you would expect to see starting on the weekend, but it shouldn't be. I mean, I think both teams were pretty interested in trying to come out of this game healthy. And, preliminary indications are that they succeeded in that, although the Penguins probably got a scare when Brian Dumoulin took a shot off the inside of his foot in the second period. I think they discovered during the regular season that going for an extended period without him is not a good thing. But in general, I think both sides have to be reasonably satisfied with what they accomplished.
Yeah, Dumoulin, he described that to us in the post game that it was just a stinger, and he felt fine after that. So yeah, it seems like they emerged unscathed. I think the goaltending, both guys look good. Murray and Jarry split the game. Murray allowed the first two goals, and I don't think you could really put either of them on him. The first one deflected in off of Marcus Pettersson. There's not a whole lot he could have done to prepare for that. And then the second one, Malkin blind pass right to Kevin Hayes in the slot. Kevin Hayes finished. And then, Jarry, I thought Jarry had maybe the better game. I think he just had more opportunities for bigger saves. But I think both goaltenders look good, but I really don't think moving forward that makes a difference for who's going to start game one, because what Sullivan talked about this morning was that he said training camp really didn't influence his opinion on the goaltending, and it was more just about getting both guys their reps they needed, and that was really what this exhibition game was too. So I think Murray starts game one, and I don't think we really saw anything in this game that would make that a bad idea.
No, I don't think there was anything that would change his mind. And I think the fact that Murray was the starter today, as opposed to the guy who went in the middle of the second period, is a pretty good indication that he's the one they have penciled in to start game one, which will surprise absolutely no one. Jarry, I thought, played very well. I certainly don't fault him on the game winner. I mean, when you get into 3-on-3, it's not like it's actual hockey anyway. And that was a really nice shot that Scott Laughton beat him on. So, he acquitted himself as well as you could hope. And I thought Murray was pretty strong too. Certainly didn't do anything that I think would cost him his role as the starter.
Yeah, and going into the qualifying round, the Penguins aren't going to be seeing 3-on-3 anyway. This was regular season overtime rules, and the round robin teams are going to have regular season overtime rules, but for the qualifying round and beyond, it's all playoff overtime rules. So 3-on-3 meaningless. But I mean, it, like you said earlier, it was a pretty sloppy game. I know the Flyers too said that the ice was pretty bad. I think part of that is that they don't have the ice crews coming out regular intervals to get rid of the snow. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the ice will get better as we go on, but just based off what we saw in this exhibition game, I don't think there's any reason to trade everyone, fire Sullivan, tank for Lafreniere. I think guys have good showings.
That would probably be a little bit of an overreaction. Now, if they would lose game one to Montreal, then all bets are off. Maybe even fold the franchise. But no, for now, I think they can hold off on doing anything radical.
All right, one of the spots that wasn't that bright of a spot was the Penguins' power play. I mean, it was awful. They had 3 opportunities, and I know going into the third third power play opportunity, I was like, well, okay, the bar is very low. As long as they get like extended zone time, they clear that, and they didn't even do that. I mean, it was just pretty bad. What did you think of the power
You could
play?
got a limbo champion to go under that, under the where the bar was set for that third power play. I mean, it was an absolutely abysmal performance for a group that has remarkable talent. It's hard to believe that they could even try to look as bad as they did today. I mean, you understand that there's going to be some rust, and that you know the layoff is going to affect it, and all of that, and that the Flyers are pretty good at killing penalties. But that was just an absolutely atrocious performance. And you could tell when Mike Sullivan was discussing it after the game that he wasn't very happy with what he saw, and that figures to get a lot of attention between now and Saturday.
Yeah, he said they have a ways to go before they're firing on all cylinders. They didn't allow any shorthanded goals. So, I mean, I think the power play has looked worse earlier in the season, especially that stretch in the fall. But so during training camp, they alternated a lot between Letang and Schultz on that for the one defenseman on the point. And we saw Schultz in all three opportunities here. Now, I think that's what Sullivan said after. That's less of a statement of like who's the guy in the top unit, and really it just depends on who's fresh. And it just so happened that in all three opportunities, Letang was the one that needed more rest and Schultz was more fresh, so that's why we saw him. Now I think Letang's the better guy in the power play. That's what we saw in the regular season. So I mean there's that, but it doesn't hinge all on who the defenseman was, because I mean they just weren't taking shots when they had opportunities.
And I mean, they couldn't get into the zone, and on those rare occasions when they did, they didn't do anything. And Justin Schultz has a very good offensive game. I don't understand why he doesn't shoot the puck more. He has a good shot. It seems like he goes out of his way to pass, that he'll skip opportunities to put the puck on goal just to give it to a teammate. I mean, there was a time today when he gave it to Evgeny Malkin. I mean, there are certainly worse guys in the league that you can give the puck to than Malkin. But Schultz has a good enough shot that I don't think he should defer to his teammates as often as he does. The idea of a power play, I mean, you distill it to its basic components. You get pucks and bodies to the net. It's really not complicated. The Penguins seem intent on complicating it, though, and they seem to feel at times as if they're going to get style points if they score a really pretty power play goal, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I mean this unit really didn't have a ton of time together during the regular season because guys were hurt at different points. But I mean, given the talent that they have, I don't think that really matters. These guys already do have chemistry. But I mean, they have a couple days before game one gets underway. You'd think they'd spend a lot of time on that in practice before then. I don't know. Maybe the problem was that the fake fans were not yelling "shoot" on the. So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, they definitely have a lot of work to do before the games get underway.
No question about that.
All right, Dave, I thought just the television experience watching this, no fans, I thought it was pretty interesting. Something I thought was interesting was that so the Penguins were the road team for this, but we did get to see the goal horn and for both sides and the goal song for both sides. I don't know if you listen to like the fake fans a whole lot. It was just confusing to me. Like I don't understand like who they were cheering for, the fake fans. It really didn't seem like either. Like I know like the Flyers are the home team, but there's a point where the Penguins got the too many men and like the fake fans were booing. It just seemed like just general crowd noise. I'm not crazy about it. I don't know if you paid that much attention to it, but what did you think about the broadcast noise?
Yeah, I really didn't pay that much attention to the crowd noise, but it seems like it would be logical if you're going to designate a team the home team, which you have to for purposes of face-offs and things like that. then let it, exclusively use that team's home crowd noises. Use something that you recorded in Philadelphia for the entire game today. Don't be schizophrenic about it. Crowds at NHL games are not generally split 50-50 unless you're a Rust Belt team that goes into a warm weather place and have a lot of transplants who live in the area. So no, I mean, that seemed kind of silly. And early on, having the tarps over the seats was kind of disconcerting. But after a while, and I can only speak for myself, I was kind of able to look past that stuff and really focus on what was going on the ice and the ambient noise and the lack of bodies in the seats really wasn't much of an issue for me. And it'll be interesting. Apparently, the broadcasters have a few more wrinkles that they're planning to keep under wraps until the actual games start over the weekend. So we'll see what other kind of enhancements they have in mind. But one way or the other, it's the stuff that happens on the ice that matters most. So
yeah, I mean, going back to the fans, the last game I covered in person was in Buffalo, and it really was a 50-50 split. So I guess not that unusual, probably a little bit unusual for Penguins Flyers. But yeah, I don't know. I did notice that what the sound had to keep cutting out a bit, and there's like a 20-second delay for swears. So I guess that's what that was. I noticed that a lot. Yeah, no, the tarped off lower bowl. I think what they did to the lower bowl was pretty cool with the tarp. I mean, it kind of looked like an outdoor game. The screens with the different logos I thought were cool. And the broadcasters, I thought Mears and Airy, I mean, I thought they did a good job. I didn't, I think you forget that they're not there and they're just watching in the studio. I mean, something I guess we gained from this, so I think Bettman said there's 12 new camera angles because normally, they're limited to where they can put cameras because there are people in the seats and you can't block them. But with nobody there, they were able to put in more camera angles. I really didn't notice a whole lot of that. I mean, they're not that different from what we normally get. We normally get a fair amount of camera angles in a game, but I mean, yeah, I thought the whole broadcast experience, no fans, better than expected. I thought the fan noise was less corny than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, not that bad for the first. I mean, this was the first game in months, so this was the first run by the NHL. I thought it was pretty good.
I agree about the broadcast crew. I thought they did a pretty good job, and I listened to a bit on the radio, and Mike Klang and Phil Bork did a nice job there. I thought, considering that none of the broadcasters were on site, I thought they acquitted themselves very well, especially for this being the first time they did it.